name is Lisa Rodriguez, and I would like to speak on a topic that affects all of us in one way or another. Whether you're a smoker or a non-smoker, we've all been in a public building at some time when smoking was permitted. And just kind of envision this. As you look around the room, you see a lot of smokers and people that are actually smoking. And if you notice, there's just kind of a gray, dingy cloud of smoke hovering like a mass in the room. And your eyes are probably burning and probably difficult to breathe as well. So the focus of my topic today is the benefits of smoking bans in restaurants and public places. Smoking affects everyone, and there are serious health implications, whether you inhale by choice or whether it's by secondhand smoke exposure. There are hazardous toxins that do remain, and because of that, I thought this would be a good topic of interest because it does affect all human life. I currently smoke, and because of that, I kind of feel like I'm qualified to speak on the matter because, in a sense, most people would think I'm giving up my rights as a smoker. But after researching the effects of secondhand smoke exposure, I kind of feel like I've not really given a lot of consideration as to how it does affect other people around me. Secondhand smoke, it does share a critical state, or rather there is a critical state because of secondhand smoking and smoking in public places. And there is a need to understand the effects of secondhand smoke, as well as a need to in place smoking bans. And also I'd like to express why there's a need for comprehensive statewide smoking bans. So I would like to take a few minutes of your time to first let you know why there is a definite need to understand the effects of secondhand smoke on human life. The 2006 Surgeon General, Richard Carmona, wrote, "An environment free of involuntary exposure to secondhand smoke should remain an important national priority in order to reach the Healthy People 2010 objective." He also noted that exposure to secondhand smoke remains an alarming public hazard, and also indicated in that same writing that brief exposures could pose significant acute risk to older adults or to others at high risk for cardiovascular disease. There was also a 2009 report done by the Institute of Medicine, and it was called the Secondhand Smoke Exposure and Cardiovascular Effects, Making Sense of the Evidence. In that report, they concluded that exposure to secondhand smoke is a significant cause to heart attacks in non-smokers. They also determined that relatively brief exposure to secondhand smoke causes acute coronary events. And also it is shown that secondhand smoke exposure causes serious diseases, including cancer. According to the Office of the U.S. Surgeon General, secondhand smoke exposure causes disease and premature death in children and adults of non-smokers. Secondhand smoke exposure does leave hundreds of toxic and cancer-causing chemicals, and I was kind of astounded to find that, I'll just name a few, but formaldehyde, benzene, vinyl chloride, arsenic, ammonia, and even hydrogen cyanide. Non-smokers exposed to secondhand smoke have an increased risk of heart disease by 25 to 30%, and lung cancer by 20 to 30%. Babies are also more likely to die of SIDS if the mom smokes while being pregnant, and if the baby is exposed to secondhand smoke after birth, there's more of a potential for death as well. Secondly, I would like to express why there's a definite need for smoking bans in public places, and that would include restaurants and bars, working environments, and public buildings. The 2006 American Lung Association implemented a smoke-free air challenge, and it calls on 50 states and the District of Columbia to pass laws prohibiting smoking in all public places and workplaces. Currently, there are 27 states and the District of Columbia that have met the challenge. And as bans are implemented, we just all need to be aware of how and what we do and how it affects all human life. We need to have more of a conscious self-awareness and look beyond our own enjoyment. I would like to challenge you to begin to consider changing your own personal habits and take effort for the responsibility of it. Thirdly, with that being said, there is a definite need to implement smoking bans where there are currently none. And as of March 15, 2010, per the American Lung Association, Indiana is still listed as having weaker restrictions. And if you take a look at the map here, you'll notice that all the purple states, they do have comprehensive laws in effect, including restaurants and bars. The yellow have comprehensive laws passed but are not yet in effect. And the white area are the states with the weaker restrictions. And the green has strong laws, and including restaurants, but not comprehensive statewide. In February 2010, the Indiana House of Representatives voted 54 to 44 to pass statewide comprehensive smoking bans, and it does have two exceptions, which are casinos and racinos, which is the casino, the racetrack, basically. Currently, the House Bill 1130 shows that the law will be effective July 1st, 2010. So as my intention was to offer you some new facts on the matter, I am hopeful that you will now begin to consider that there is a definite need for human awareness on secondhand exposure, and definitely a need for smoking bans in public places, and even more so, a definite need for comprehensive statewide smoking bans to protect human life and our health. I would like to encourage you once again to get involved and be responsive and responsible and help the cause of this public safety health issue. Whether you choose to smoke or not, we all have a responsibility to all human life. And if you choose to smoke, please take responsibility not to impose your choices on others. You're not giving up your right to smoke, but simply being considerate. And shouldn't we be, regardless of the risk?